There we go. We are live. I'd like to welcome everybody here to the 2018-19 Dakota Grappler Live Coaches Show. I'm going to have quite a few things going on this year. So my guest for tonight, my first guest, I'm kind of tongue-tied a little bit, but trying to live a few technology snafus. But I am John Gums. I am owner and editor of Dakota Grappler. I've been doing this for a long time, not so much online technology-wise, but since 1999, I did my first edition. And so it's heading on 20 years coming up here. And I've done several books. I think I've done about 27 different books, highlighting all the wrestlers of North and South Dakota. But other than that, I'm here to promote wrestling and give wrestling some publicity they deserve. And so it went very well. This is the second year of Dakota Grappler Live. Last year we did 13 episodes, included several different coaches, talked many things. You can go on to dakotagrappler.com and see these videos. Also, as you're here, I'd like to get more subscribers. I've got several hundreds and hundreds of people watch these videos, but I could use some more subscribers. So go down the bottom, click on the bell, get notifications, because I'm going to do a lot more shows this year. We're going to do shows, so at least one a week, and sometimes we will be doing Sundays and Wednesdays, two times a week. I'm starting to schedule out for the year. So if there's some coaches out there that want to get on, or maybe even some fans that want to talk some wrestling, I don't mind that. I'll get some background from you. We plan on doing a couple other things. I'd like to do some practice plans and some different things online with some of the coaches, get some ideas of what they like to do in their rooms. And I always love talking wrestling, and we've got it going. I know last night I went to a duel against Bismarck Century, and then we had Jamestown come into Bismarck, and a great duel came down to the last match. I know that South Dakota's going. They've got junior high matches and middle school matches going. I've gone to several of those. But the big varsity tournaments start up here. I know Minot had a tournament last week in North Dakota. South Dakota's right around the corner. I know we got Thanksgiving right after this. You slim them down and get into the first tournament. My first guest tonight, Scott Andel. He was on a couple times last year. He is a great promoter of the sport in South Dakota. Loved always watching him hopping up and down the side of the mat, yelling at his guys. He's got a lot of energy. Love talking wrestling with him. I'd like him to introduce himself and tell me a little bit about your team and how it's looking this year.
Well, yeah, Scott Andel, head wrestling coach for Cook Central Montrose. Yeah, we've been practicing for about 2 weeks, and we'll go. Our middle school started a little earlier. They went to Lyman yesterday and fared pretty well. They won 28-14 out at that tournament. Had about 6 kids go undefeated. So our middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade is good numbers. We had 15 participate in that tournament. We actually have 61 kids out injured right now. The high school program, we're excited this year. We have 25 kids out, probably the most. I'm trying to dig back in our records. Back in the early 2000s, one time we pushed that 25, 26 mark. But a lot of new kids, high school kids, a lot of young kids coming in, but our young kids are really experienced. We should, juggling around because of movement, should be able to fill every weight class this year. We'll have to, we're kind of bottled up at 170. Yep. We have a lot of people have seen already. We have a third place finisher, Blake Gester, at 160 last year, state qualifier from 152, Parker Shire, and a state qualifier right at 170, Jacob Cheeseman, and they're all weigh 170. So we got to kind of funnel that out, and we have another state qualifier, qualified at 95, but he's only weighs, even again this year, he's a senior, weighs about 185. So we got about 4 guys trying to vie for about 3-4 weight classes. So
that makes it really tough. Yeah, and the bigger guys, I tell you what, they get to work well with one another. But don't you corn feed them down there? You got a heavyweight.
Yeah, we last year we had a kid come out first year, and was a 220 pounder, and he got the state meet, and now he's not going to see that again. He's up at heavyweight. But some of the new kids we gained, and between 195 and heavyweight, we gained about 4 kids, and 2 of them weigh over 230. So we got some competition going on this year in the room up for our big guys.
Well, that's pretty good. I tell you what, you're in the tough region. You always got to deal with Canton and all those other guys down there. You got to have the big guys to fill out the duels. Now, one quick question. I'm really excited for next year. They get to bring the duels back. What are you thinking about that?
Yeah, we're excited. I was on the committee 4 years ago when we started this. We had our meeting about 3 weeks ago with the state on a conference call, and looks good. There's some things changing. Right now, I think we're gonna go with a point system, kind of like football and basketball does. And I don't know, we're battling right now. Right now, they're saying top 8 go to state automatically. The points, trying to vie for kind of like the other sports, the basketball, volleyball, the 16 at 16 they reseed everything. Well, we know in our own regions we won't get a lot of teams to participate in the duels due to lack of numbers. But I feel we have 16 or more teams that might want to do it across the state. So hopefully we can take them top 16 and have that one match qualifier to go to state.
No, that'd be really nice. Instead of North Dakota, they kind of have everybody required to kind of get into the duel, and they get to be some lopsided scores. But they have a region, 4 regions, and each one is a tournament in the Class B wise, and then in Class A, the top 4 on each side go.
Yeah, ours is it's going to be. I think they're looking the same at Class A, Class B. Like I said, right now it's going to be the top 8 point getters. So I suppose it is better than when we probably had it back in the early 2000s.
No,
late 90s, early 2000s. Top 2 teams went in a region, the individual region tournament, and I seen some teams get there and they had opens and it was kind of rough for them. And actually in 2002, we were one match from somebody winning, getting that other half a point or 1 point we needed, and we would have been second that year. That year I only had 12 kids on the whole team, so we would have dualized. We were not really that good. So I like the qualifier that they're setting up now better.
I think that's a good idea. And they're taking this state into a 3-day tournament then in 2 years here?
Yeah, ours is going to be a 3-day, and it's intermixed the first 2 day with duels and individual, and the final day's individual. So that's something different.
Okay. Now, I was trying to ask that because North Dakota does theirs in 3, but you guys have always had your semis Saturday morning. Are they changing anything there?
Yeah, it'll be, I think, a little different format. We'll come back Saturday, and it'll be them wrestlebacks to get in for third, and then bam, we'll go right into the medal matches and then the finals. So semis will be on Friday night.
Okay, kind of like the North Dakota schedule then.
Yeah.
Okay. How about location? Are they still going to stay one location for everything?
As of right now, yep. There's some, debate. Some of the South Dakota coaches have heard already that there's we have this beautiful facility in Sioux Falls at Denny Sanford. But the problem is they, after 2021, I believe I heard that they can't guarantee, it's not just wrestling, it's any sport, to book way out 3-4 years anymore, because they can fill that place with a concert, and with that adult beverage they're going to make money in 3-4 hours more than they are in a 2-3 day state tournament, regardless what sport you got.
Okay, that makes it really tough to guarantee where you're going to be at for the state tournament. Definitely.
Yeah, I look for it to kind of stay together, John, but I do look for, because of that thing happening, I look for every few years, I think it might split up again like it used to be.
Right. That's kind of what I had heard, and kind of through the grapevine, is that there's people pushing to probably break it up again. I know Aberdeen wants to get a tournament back, and they love having the state wrestling tournament, but they just have a hard time, having enough room for both classes there,
Yeah, and the biggest thing is when one class is there is, it's a motel battle. That's the biggest thing up there. But I'll tell you, facility as a coach and wrestlers, we love it. Their hospitality is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. I'm not knocking the other 2 big cities, but Aberdeen probably, they go way above and beyond. We really appreciate it when we do go up there. But like I've had former wrestlers, we've talked about it, and even myself, I just like that atmosphere when people are breathing on me. I mean, it was great at the Denny Sanford last year, Paul Lauk wrestled the state championship match, but even he said you didn't feel that people on top of you because it's such a big, wide open space. So
the energy last year at the state South Dakota tournament was phenomenal. I mean, I haven't seen it. Everybody kind of, you know how they arranged it so you had kind of your premier matches last, and that was kind of a new thing. And what happened is, I tell you what, the energy in the place was phenomenal going down to the heavyweight match, and in Class A there with Big Hotmacher, and you go, and those two just were battling.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it's good for our sport. I like how they do vote on it. It's kind of neat how they let that's today's world, like we're doing right now, technology. So they let people reach out, they get a vote, have that fan vote. So
sure. Well,
it does. You're right. It gives you the premier matches. And I won't lie. Last year I don't know if I was. I think I know my wrestler was more calm than I was about getting that premier match. I was like, I just wanted to wrestle and get it done, but he kind of liked it. So it turned out.
You're probably more nervous than he was.
Yeah, I won't lie, I was.
That's pretty good. Quick question about technology, since we're on that for a second. I noticed some of the stuff you're putting online, and I get a kick out of it when you started to wear your different shirts and putting your posts on of where you got the wrestling t-shirt and so forth. I've got about, I bet you 50 of them I could pull out, but I don't think I could fit in them anymore. Tell me what some of your social media plans and stuff you're doing.
I'm just trying to, that's today's world, you got to be out and show the public what's going on. We have a lot of people, people always say, oh, grandparents. They just grandparents. We have other relatives that follow our wrestling team. And I've got former wrestlers that actually have, they move out of state and stuff, and they're raising their families, and they just love it when they can get on and watch matches. Or the biggest thing is like that. They like to, I'm trying to involve them, see what our practice room looks like. And we got that new practice room in Salem. We're in our second full year of it. And it's just nice to show the community, the money they spent, what it looks like.
Is that a full gym? Or I was watching that, you almost looks like you have 2 full mats laying down there.
Last week we were in the big gym in Montrose. We laid 2 mats out. This week we're in that new wrestling room we have. That's about 1 3/4 mat maybe. And then we do with the kids we got this year, which is a good problem. We have to spill back out in the balcony where we used to practice. In Montrose, it's nice. Throw 2 full mats, you got plenty of space. But again, it's in a gym, so guess what? Mats have to come up every day because they got PE and stuff like that going on. So
right. How do you handle your schedule between the schools?
Our athletic directors, they kind of set it up. A lot of times since we got the co-op, Wednesdays are automatic in most of the time over in Montrose because there's no junior high athletics going on, so no battling for gyms. But last few years, we practiced a lot more over there. I still say it's probably, if I had to guess, 70-30. And a lot is setting up mats, taking them down. And over in Salem, we don't have to do that. So
now, question: are you taking a bus, or how are people getting around?
A bus. Yep, we take a bus, and other sports we all ride together. Early in the season, we're the only ones going on in November. Yeah, we're on our own, and like Friday we got the holiday. We're the only sport going, so I'll run over and we're practicing Salem. Then Montrose this year they were over 50% of our team probably 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. And now the kind of, how things switch on the way it goes. And we have 4 Montrose wrestlers this year. So when we have to go get them, it's kind of easy. You just grab a school van and grab them.
Sure. That makes it interesting. I tell you what, the co-ops and you name it, you get a different blend. I remember some of the first joining of teams and how they used to be rivals, and then they all of a sudden have to work together. It was kind of interesting, some of the parent chemistry and so forth. But I tell you what, when wrestling switched to 14 weight classes, you've seen a lot of changes when it comes to structure of teams and so forth.
Exactly.
I tell you what, you got to deal with what you got, and you do the best, definitely. A couple questions with your upcoming schedule before we get on to a few. I want to look at the ranking of your kids and a few guys in your region. What does your schedule look like for right after Thanksgiving here?
We opened up with the Top of the Rock, the Del Rapids tournament, and it used to be for many years when I've been here, it was a Chester Invitational. course, Chester kind of folded their program, but they actually joined Del Rapids, so Del Rapids took the tournament over. And for a while there, the tournament kind of got down, but now it's really good. Canton just jumped in this year, and we already have Bonham, Scotland, and then you throw in Adrian, Minnesota, and Wabasso Red Rock, Minnesota, and there's about 10 teams in there. And I was just looking at it the other day. They placed top 4, and they're that weight class I was talking about, where my kids are all loaded. You're gonna probably next weekend. You're probably gonna could have 5 kids that place in the top 6, let alone top 8 in that one weight class. Only 4 kids first tournament will come away with a medal. So it'll be interesting. And maybe some guys will shuffle, but it's early season. Usually everybody wants to just see everybody. So
how many times do you see some of the top guys like Bonholm and Canton in your region during the year before you get to?
We'll see Bonham, Scotland, and Bonham, Scotland, Avon now. We'll see them in Del Rapids next Saturday, and then they come to our tournament December 22nd. And Canton, we'll see them we'll see them at Del Rapids, and they come to our tournament on the 22nd, and then we will duel them late in the year. They used to bring their JV team to a round robin duels I have, but they mix in, it's kind of half and half. And this year they said that with the next year and all the things, state dual tournament, everything, they're going to start bringing their varsity. So,
well, that's pretty good. I tell you what, shows how hard work you're doing in your room too. Because a few years ago, I'm not sure some of those teams would have came, because you just had a few studs. And now when you start filling out the team and getting up on the stand and you name it, it makes a big difference.
Yep.
Now, a couple more questions. When it comes to your competition, do you kind of keep the same schedule, or you always try to find like one thing new in a year, or try to do anything that way?
We've changed. It's like every 3-4 years we find something different. Last year, our tournament, or we call it holiday tournament, even though it's before Christmas this year due to the moratorium break that we have now and everything. We jumped in. Our tournament was canceled last year due to cold weather. So we jumped in the Lyman tournament, this Mid-Dakota Monster. And we found out that we've seen some kids and some teams that we don't get to see. So we ended up, we added that tournament. And if you look at our schedule, we're one way in over or whatever. So we'll figure things out as the season goes on. We got some different things we can do, especially with 25 kids. That's a nice thing. We can shuffle kids in and out, and we get some quads, set some kids so they can do certain tournaments. So
right now, with the total number of weigh-ins, was Gesner a new record for you? If you had a kid over 50 wins before last year, because he had 50.
Yeah, actually, he had 50 wins, and it still isn't the school record. Zach Blindert and Dominic Blindert, the two of the Blindert brothers, they've got 50. They had 52.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, I know everybody gives me a heart. We do get a lot of matches. I know.
I got to get them mat time. Yeah. I tell you what's interesting is I noticed it's a different philosophy, because I looked when you were matching up. Now, Phillip is a good team, but they'll come into state with 20 to 30 matches, and they don't hit their schedule till after January. You really start looking where they're getting their competition. So it's kind of interesting, the philosophy that Donnelly has out there.
Yeah, he switched up. This will be his second year. They don't go to anything till the middle of December, but they don't start. They don't start when we do. They'll start here now around Thanksgiving with the high school program. So they're. I've been watching him. I know I'm thinking about tweaking some things and stuff. But
yeah,
I guess try to stay ahead of that guy.
He's got some secrets he holds pretty tight. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's a great group of coaches in South Dakota. Now I've got a huge list, and I almost want to go through it with you of guys that have agreed to would like to get on this year. And I don't know, as people are watching tonight, if their coaches, want to get on, they definitely tell them, hey, we'll get on and talk some wrestling. But I've got Burma Sunshine Bible would like to get on. I've got
he actually, I'll give a shout out to him. He's student taught here. He was a volunteer assistant wrestling coach when he did student teaching. I was stuck at head football coach at the time for a couple of years. And the first year I had to do it, he was one of my assistants. We got him for student teaching. That's how I met him, and yeah, he'd be a good one.
Yep. So that was interesting because I don't know him. I've visited with him through the Grappler, and that's one guy I've always gone, how Sunshine Bible's an interesting place. You look at Miller and you try to find where that school's at, and it's basically in the middle of nowhere, you know.
Yeah, it's out of the country. Yep.
Yep. You got to
Kind
figure
of like where I teach at out. It's just like a colony.
Yep, definitely. And then I've got let's think here. Potter County's coach. Actually, he wants to get on. It's Mike.
Mike Schlatter, yep.
Mike Schlatter. Get through my list here of some other ones. I've got, of course, Jeremy Swenson. He'll be on again. I'm pretty sure. Canton. He's an interesting cat too. I like him a lot. I visited with him. Going down the North Dakota list. Parkston, head coach. He'll come on. He would like to get on.
Bamer,
yep. And then Bennett County. He'd like to get on. Bo Vogelai again. I like what Bo's doing. He's a North Dakota boy.
Yeah.
Played baseball with his dad and golfed with his dad. In fact, there's some embarrassing pictures out there of me golfing at the Northern. They have a fundraiser for Northern State, and they got a hole where they can pay $10 to put you in a singlet to tee off in. And
oh, really?
And I don't fit in a singlet very well, but they paid for me to get in a singlet. That was not so good.
Yeah, I like Bo. He's a good guy. I gotta get a catch up with him. I gotta give him a hard time. We jumped in the Phillip tournament. They got out. Last year we jumped in the Lyman tournament. Now they got out. So I can give him a hard time if he's running from us or what.
He's scared of you. Yeah.
I know he's not, but I just gotta give him a hard time.
That's pretty good. St. Thomas More coach. Good chance. He says he'll probably get on. Sean Lewis, who did a great job, and he keeps running his
he's got a great program.
Treadmill, basically, of guys, one guy on, one guy off.
We're kind of excited. They jumped in the Lyman tournament this year, so I'm glad we stayed in it. We never get a wrestle here, so now we have our shot.
Get to see some good competition. That's awesome.
Yep.
Tom Basler again from Huron. He does a good job. He actually sold some ads for me way back when I was first starting this stuff, and before he went to grad school, and got to know him pretty well. Pretty nice guy. I like him a lot. Sturgis Abel, Mike Abel.
Yeah,
he's now there, and he would probably. I'd like to hear from him. It's another part of the country which is unique, that Sturgis area, and they roll out some pretty good wrestlers. And what's interesting is when I see them early in the season in Mandan. I usually catch them and Rapid City Central and Stevens come up to the Mandan tournament because they can get a ton of matches. You're guaranteed five-man round robin. No matter your quality, you're getting 5 for sure. And if you are in the top 4 then on each side, then they're getting more matches. And you're probably getting 8 matches on the weekend, a lot of guys. So that's what they want to see. Rapid City Central would like to get in. Todd County, maybe even that Josh Dean. He says probably.
Yeah, be good. He's got that program coming around.
And so you have to promote it. I really believe it. If you got a program, kids are that way. Like you said, the social aspect of wrestling is probably as big as it's ever been, and people, they want to get seen, and they that's a good idea for your team to be known. Lennox head coach, he said probably on Sunday. That'd be pretty good. Let's keep going. Got some of the college coaches. In fact, SDSU, going to probably get him on sometime.
Good.
Get him the head coach, new head coach there on. He's the guy you have to schedule, though. It's kind of funny because I was promoting one of their opening duel of the year. They had asked me to do some stuff for him, and he had a hard time finding because he's a busy guy. And, yeah. And then who else? I got several of them on my list, but it's a great list of coaches, and I tell you what, the more that want to get on, they can contact me anytime, and I'll, even if I have to go some other nights, I just know that Wednesdays work well because it's kind of, some people go to their seating meetings or have some stuff they have to do then, but then other people you can kind of round things up. I did Wednesdays last year and it worked pretty well. Every once in a while people come with conflicts, but I'll try to find somebody to get on and talk some wrestling. And then Sundays, I had a lot of people request Sunday last year. I don't know why I kind of just held off on it. I maybe start spreading this out and see how it went the first year. And I'm going to do some on Sundays. So I got several that want to do that, but feel free to contact me, anybody out there, and we'll see what we can do. Other thing that's kind of new too with YouTube, there is the possibility you don't have to go through all the gear you need to actually go live. Most people can now go YouTube live and have their duels on. All you need is just basically, a camera, a phone. You can almost put anybody on. Minot, in fact, had a tournament last week, and they have a Facebook page, and they got a ton of their wrestlers have their matches on there, which I thought was phenomenal. So I watched some of their state placing matches. In that tournament, there were 14 Class B and 11 Class A returning state champion, or not state champion, state placers at that tournament. And so when I started looking, there could be you got 23, state placers that are going to face somewhere in the mix. And so I was going through all that, and it's always kind of cool. I like looking at stats like that. Well, thinking of stats, I'm going to try something here now. I want to look at the rankings with you. So I'm going to go to that off screen here. So if you guys don't see something for a second, just be patient. We're going to get on. Still be able to hear us, but I'm going to go to a different look where we can go and go screen share. And there we're going to screen share. It'll look kind of funny for a second where it's going to scale out. But then I'm going to minimize this and go to a couple different things. So here, just tell me when you see the rankings come up.
Yeah, I see them.
Now, do you know who actually does these rankings in South Dakota?
One guy from down south. I won't divulge his name, but yeah, I know one of them. So
okay, well, yeah, I'm not sure if they want to be known either sometimes. So I know a few of them that actually kind of get together and do this, and they're a little heavy on region 2 sometimes. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But that's the gist. If you do it, you get your opportunity to do that. But
yeah, that's right.
Yep. And so, and they put in the time. I tell you what, they've done this for years. I'll bet you these individuals have probably worked together at putting their rankings together. I bet you 15, 20 years maybe before the advent of the internet, really. And they've been very generous on putting it on my website. People love it. And they used to think I was doing it. And I used to do my own rankings for South Dakota. But now that I don't live down there, I don't know all their kids anymore. And so they've done a wonderful job at putting this together and getting it out online. But a couple things to look at. Now, what's interesting here is this young kid you guys got at 6, they ranked early in the season. Has he got some freestyle and some USA wrestling or AAU wrestling experience?
Lot of AAU wrestling, a lot of success. Jackson Remmers, he's a good kid. As a coach, when they're 7th graders, I'm not a big fan of getting way up there, that high right away.
Hopefully he doesn't see this. No, but
yeah, I'm sure.
Early in the season, I think that's tough for any young kid where you have these expectations put on you and you're not quite sure exactly, what's going to pan out. Maybe at the end of the year you'll be there, but I think it'd be a little bit better goal if you was sitting down here and start beating some along the way. Right now, it doesn't have people that you should be beating. It almost shows that you should already beat all these people, and that makes it really tough. I tell you what, best scenario, if he placed there, I tell you what, you'd probably be smiling all the way to the bank.
Oh yeah.
Because that's tough. Because some of these guys, I'll guarantee, aren't going to be in there, but there's going to be some other guys that are, and you never know. At 6 is always a mystery any place you go. North Dakota, I looked at our first rankings, and there are kids on there that I'm going, no way. And then other ones I'm going, nah, he's way out of place. But I also didn't do the rankings. It's they do a coaches poll, actually, and the coaches ranked the first one, so that's kind of cool. Then as we go along, I wanted to talk a little about this 113 pounder from Canton. Now, is he really a senior? I thought he was younger than that.
No, yeah, he's a senior. Braxton, yeah, he's a senior.
Okay. Yeah, because I tell you what, they've ran. If you start looking at and you start calculating Canton, and you start going, the team that I am looking forward to watching this year is Winner. Winner really stepped it up. The ex-Mobridge coach, he's an ex-Winner wrestler, but he's done a wonderful job down there.
Yeah, they got some good kids. I was just looking, they don't have their weights on there, but they're on the lineup they have on the state website. But I was just looking, they got some good kids.
Oh yeah,
pretty solid.
I mean, if you just start looking at this and you look down the list. Winter's got a kid ranked at 6. And then the way they have it, and then they had nobody here, but then you start looking. Number 2, he's tough. That Kaiser, he's tough. And then you go Turnquist, and then you go, it just keeps going and going. Peters is tough. Kruger's tough. And so they're gonna have a fun team, I think, for people to watch this year in winter. And you find any of the Willowites down there. They're always going to be tough. I know he put Achilles on the first name. Yeah. There's a wrestler coming up before you know it. But I want to talk a little bit about some of your guys somewhere in the middle here. Now, I saw a lot of improvement out of this young man. If you see me highlight him, this last year, is he gotten a lot bigger? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, we another week it's going to be, everybody's going to know anyway. He will, he's going to hit about 152. He bulked up. He jumped up with all these them juniors,
right?
But not quite as big. So he stayed small, a little bit under him, luckily. And we're going to have him at 152 to start the season.
Well, I tell you what, that's going to be fun. Sheer. Also, you're just loaded in that, like you said, that 60.
That's where I'm stuck. That 60, 70, and 82. I got 3 guys in them weight classes, and you have like you look at 170. That's down at number 10. That's at Jacob Cheeseman.
Oh yeah, yep.
He's actually, they have him at Southport. He's a junior. These are all juniors. Shire, Cheeseman, and Gessner. They're going to be fighting it out amongst 160, 170. And then you throw Peterson in there at 82. So they got 4 guys. 3 of them are stuck at 70. Got Peterson at 82. So it's a little different cat for us. Got 1 state place winner and 3 state qualifiers in there trying to vie for
3 weight classes.
So,
geez. I would tell one of their moms to start feeding them and get somebody up here. Did you guys have a good football season? I thought you guys.
We had a decent football season. We didn't make the playoffs this year, but they were good. But all these kids coming back will be really good. The seniors we had were good, but not one of those senior dominating classes. So our juniors are. I think Coach Evans will really have a good football season. I look for him next year.
Okay, well that sounds pretty good. Well, then the other thing I wanted to do. So kind of interesting. I like that. But didn't give you much time. I talked to you a little bit about this, but I kind of want to look at this. Now, some people are wondering what I'm putting up here, but what I kind of like some of the coaches to do is, it's a place where other coaches can learn too here on Coaches Live, I was thinking, and trying to think of how they actually prepare. And I talked to some coaches last year a little bit about this, and it's always interesting to me going into other coaches' rooms and how they prepare. You see the old school method of where I watched you on Facebook doing the spin drills and so forth, and if that was a direct plan or if it was just a attack at getting in shape or what it was. But as you notice on this sheet here, I do have your name, the coach running the practice. If I gave you 3 minutes to kind of make a plan of practice for, let's say, the day after Thanksgiving. So you have to probably practice on Friday. You said that already.
Yep.
Do you already kind of have a practice in mind, or?
Yeah, well, I can evaluate after today. I'll probably tomorrow night, Thursday night, look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're a mixture. We like the one day on the feet, one day in a little bit down the mat, and probably Friday now will be our day to come back pounding stuff on the mat. We're still hitting a lot of technique with all the new kids. I won't lie. We've been doing some little live takedowns and top bottom out on the mat stuff, but Friday will be not the little kids, because the middle school kids already had a tournament. So we already started a while ago. So we started live matches for them, but the high school kids will get their first 6-minute match this Friday. Then we got to turn around, and within, now we got a lot of kids, and within Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, we got wrestle-offs to do. But I would say if I had to do something, we're going to be bottom. Technique on bottom, drilling right into pinning combinations, right into our top bottom out. And then and warm-up wise, I see your warm-up notes. Our warm-ups are, I don't schedule anything anymore. It's when I walk in the room, I kind of feel the kids out, and I decide if it's going to be the gorillas, or we're going to go for a 6-minute run, or that kind of stuff. So
Yep, and that should vary. I definitely think so, because sometimes you have to crank the music up and just get them running, get them sweating good. Other times you want them to kind of free roll and just wrestle just a little bit, just uh, practicing a few. Some other people might be drilling some moves individually that you want to work on. Maybe they've done over the weekend. Warm up is always an interesting time to listen what coaches want to do.
Yep.
And so now, how long are usually your practices? Do you
early in the season we're going a good 2, probably 220 right in there. As we get farther in the season, I try to shorten it up. Kids give me a hard time; they think we go too long.
Always, I don't think different. Okay, any particular drills you like to do to start up? Do you work, let's say, in groups of 3 for takedowns, or anything?
Yep, groups of 3 to 4. Groups of 3, 4. This year we got kind of different oddball couple groups where we have to throw 5 kids together, and then we'll go 2 groups, and they'll just keep rotating. Only one guy gets a break. So,
and it's always a benefit to have more guys in the room because you've got a good number this year.
Yes,
definitely. And your size is, if you're close together, makes a huge difference too. I know I dealt with a couple people that had like only one small kid and a bunch of middleweights and then one big kid, and they always struggled of what to do with this really small kid and the largest kid. And so the coach, since he was halfway decent size, he wrestled the big kid all the time, but they were looking for a small guy for the wrestling room for their 103 pounder. Actually, at the time it was 103. Go back, it's a while back. How about Christmas? Do you do 2-a-days? Do you do any time where you?
No, we have only 2-a-days we've ever done is early in the season. Some years when our football team pushes it to the semis when Dominic Blinder and Cody Eichmann were seniors, back in fall of 2012 or whatever it was. I'm so old, I don't remember years anymore. We made the dome. Then we go 2-a-days because we start late. We don't start when everybody starts. Then we'll throw 2-a-days in, but I'm not a big 2-a-day guy. I try to just get it all done in one shot. Now, few years, and I switch it up about every 3-4 years. We do come late in the season where we'll come in and do a light lifting, or come in and do conditioning. So that way, when we get after school, I can just go about hour 20, hour 30, and I just let them go.
Right.
And that's our postseason stuff.
Right. Okay. Well, that's always interesting. I tell you what. So I'm not going to fill it out in front of you, but someday I'll send you one next time we visit and see if we can get and put it with. So then I'll have the coaches responsible for putting just one practice plan kind of together to go with the video, and we'll talk just a little bit about it instead of making one up as the fly. But hey, thanks for talking about that. That was pretty cool. A couple more things. Now, are there any big plans? Now, I know I watch when it comes to the awards at the end of the year. What part do you play in, let's say, handing out Hall of Fame or anything like that? I always see you in some of the pictures. Are you?
Most of the time, the last handful of years when I was Class B advisor, I took care of the Most Valuable Wrestler Award.
Oh, okay, the Most Valuable Wrestler.
And after 2 terms, 3-year terms, 6 years of being the Class B advisor at the state association, this year I handed it off to next voted in was Chris Seiler. Marion Freeman took over for me this year. So
okay, so he is the advisor. Okay,
yeah, and everybody knows, sad news, out of Big South Dakota here when we lost Bob Johnson this last month. We did. I'm on the South Dakota Coaches Association board, Wrestling Coach Association board, and we did a few weeks ago. We got back together and we did vote, and taking over Bob Johnson's role will be for our state level, not the national level, but it'll be Chris Seiler from Marion Freeman also.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, he helped me a lot the first couple of years of getting to know people in South Dakota too. He was kind of interesting character also, but he was so proud of what's happening in Watertown. Anytime he talked about wrestling and what was going on, so he loved the sport. He loved AAU wrestling big time, and that's it was a big shift, even though he was the director for both at one time. Imagine that, being both the USA director and the
you're thinking Bob Hirsch on that one.
Oh, Bob, yeah, that's correct.
Yep.
That's correct. A lot of people really respect. I saw it right away on there, and he was a great man. I appreciate the help that he helped.
Yeah, Bob Johnson. Yeah, he's an unbelievable guy. But I think Chris Seiler, we're comfortable. We're very, very comfortable as a board. A lot of support from South Dakota coaches that aren't on the board that, Chris Seiler takes over, and he'll keep driving on, keep South Dakota wrestling going, through our AAU part of it. And we're kind of been joining with the USA. We got some good things going. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, USA wrestling. I don't think there's much AAU left in North Dakota. USA is pretty much taken over. You'll find a little bit of AAU in the Class B towns, but USA has done very well in the state of North Dakota. And so, how about this? How about any rules that you see that are changing? Now, I've neglected that part actually in my making of the book. I didn't really expand. I know the big thing last year, the toes in, toes out, toes up, toes whatever. If you're in, bounce out.
They're getting the knees involved now, and yeah, they're changing it a little bit again. I knew after year one they'd tweak it a little bit, but not major changes. I don't really see this year. I was just the kids were asking. They're like, "God, coach, use your pound of rules already." And I said, "We'll go over the knees now, how the knees are affected on the out of bounds stuff." But I said, really, this year is not, I feel, not as major as previous years.
Correct. How about advent of girls wrestling more in the state of South Dakota? Anything big?
It's growing. I mean, I won't lie. I got my one daughter, 8-year-old daughter, the only child I have right now, and she's doing it. She's trying it. She's already talked about the basketball, but I told her, I said, "Yeah, you've done it 2 years. You better do your third year, and then you can figure out what you want to do." So, but yeah, it's growing in wrestling. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm sure we tried last year, just didn't pan out. We go to the middle school and the freshman, sophomore, and then last year they added junior, senior duels down in Des Moines, and they had a girls division, and we tried to get a team South Dakota, just not enough numbers yet, but I'm sure it won't take long. We'll have a team down there also.
Awesome, because it's flourishing pretty well. I see a lot in our middle school region. I mean, last tournament I must have saw 15 at least, probably just in the middle school. Minot and Bismarck and Mandan, everybody had somebody that was. So it's interesting. I always say it's without females, we wouldn't have little boys either. That's why the cheerleader advent, where a lot of the cheerleaders disappeared, and a lot of those cheerleaders turned to wrestling moms. So without them, got to find them somewhere. There's not enough stats out there to make enough wrestlers.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about tonight?
No, I think we've covered a lot. I guess a few things on my team. We were blessed. Like I got some other 7th graders like Carter Randall and stuff that are going to have to step, or they don't have to. They're going to make our lineup. I spent a lot of years relying on 7th and 8th graders, and probably the last 4 years, we've taken pride in. And we've had enough older kids. We've let our 7th and 8th graders kind of grow, and mature and not have to get thrown to the wolves. But now we're the other way. We have 25 guys, but this year we pretty much face facts. We're going to, between the Remmers and the Randall kid, we're probably going to have 2 7th graders. They're going to beat out high school kids. I mean, they'll get their legit spot, but they're ready for it. I mean, I feel I can see both of them. They're young, so we sent them to all this middle school stuff early in the season, and they did good yesterday. They pinned their way through their tournament yesterday, but they'll find out when they hit the varsity stuff next weekend.
It'll be new, but I tell you what, it's always fun. I tell you what, you see the growth, you see the tears, you see the growing up of young men. Yeah, it's awesome. Nope. I appreciate you coming in, and we'll visit many, many times. I do appreciate you hopping on. I was just, I have a couple scheduled for Sunday coming in, and hoping to get Travis Lang back. He was supposed to be on tonight, so some people came on to watch a little bit of Travis. Now, Travis is a cool young man in Bismarck, assistant wrestling coach. He does something called the the relentless mindset, and he does continuous social media. He works with loans for houses and stuff like that, and he is always online. So he knows the social part of online business. And I was really going to talk to him about that and how he motivates kids, because he's very good at motivation. And so hopefully soon we'll get to talk. And if you don't have much else, I just wish you the best of luck this season, and stay healthy and wise down there. And always keep the energy. I love your energy out on the mat and around your wrestlers. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you. I suppose you come down, hand out some magazines next weekend. And
actually, opening weekend, I always find a way to get to about 4 or 5 tournaments. That's I always do, because I'll have a ton of books, and so I'll make sure to get you a bunch. In fact, they do what's called perfect binding on my book, which is, it's a process that they don't actually do in Bismarck. They have to send them away for this type of book, and so it has to be fit together a certain way. It's called perfect binding. And so I was supposed to get them back today, and I called them yesterday and said, "Oh, we're not going to get them to probably Friday." And so I was going, "Oh my!" So but I'll survive as long as I get that opening first weekend in December and cruise out to all the tournaments possible. It's usually quite the weekend, because I probably put about 1,000 miles on my car in that weekend, or whatever vehicle I drive, depending on how many pounds of books I carry around with me. But it's a good thing, and I just hope the weather's good and I can get where I need to go. But I'll get you a bunch of books, and I still owe you a T-shirt, I think, from last year. Did I run into you? I've got several of the Dakota Grappler Live T-shirts, which I'll give you some of those and get some for your wrestlers too.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Thanks, and happy Thanksgiving to you and everyone out there.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving to you. You have a great night. Appreciate it. Now, this is John Gums. Again, go down. Those that are watching this, subscribe so we can get some more subscribers on there, and it just should explode. And we'll get more and more wrestling content out of you for both North and South Dakota. Thanks again. John Gums, Dakota Grappler Live, out.